looks like my channel's turned into Disney cynicism, but whatever gets views, I guess. So we're back, and we're talking about my favorite movie studio, theme park brand, overall monopoly in the world, Bob Iger's own Disney. Last year they released their own streaming service called Disney Plus. I expected it to be a home run because of the huge back catalog they have to begin with. Maybe it's just my cynicism, it probably is, but I feel like it's completely underwhelming and it doesn't have the versatility that a lot of its other competitors have. Since I've had the membership for about 6 months now, it's been a free one, I assure you that. I've come up with a list of critiques to serve to the streaming platform. Therefore, in a very similar style to my Why Disney Live Action Remakes Suck video, I decided to make a top 3 reasons why Disney Plus is kind of a failure. At least to a cynic like me. So as I stated before, I expected this to be an instant win because of the giant back catalog it has. So Disney has all the princess movies, the live action versions of those princess movies that suck ass, all of the Disney Channel shows and original movies if you ever need to get your Bella and the Bulldogs fix in 2020. You also have every season of The Simpsons, you have every Star Wars movie and show, including all the movies that people hate. And you have a lot of the Marvel movies and animated Marvel shows, which I found to be pretty cool. I mean, I got a nice big syringe of that 90s Fantastic Four show into my veins. Having this huge back catalog of films definitely doesn't hurt the platform. But the problem is, we've had all the same movies and shows for 8 months now. Like, sure, having something like The Simpsons is really good to have because I view that as a typical comfort food kind of show. But unless you're a family with kids that wants to watch Frozen 2 like 1,000 times, most of the movies are just one-time watches or something to watch for a fun nostalgia night. That's why I view Netflix as far superior, because even though they have so much trash, and I mean so much trash, endless trash, they at least keep putting new stuff in the platform and taking stuff out to make the whole thing feel a lot fresher. Meanwhile, Disney keeps all the same stuff, but they just keep dumping new garbage onto it. Speaking of which, just like console wars, the streaming services have to have their own exclusives be really good so that people want to go to them. For example, Netflix has The Meyerowitz Stories, Roma, The Irishman, Marriage Story, Okja, Mudbound, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Dolomite Is My Name, Beasts of No Nation, The Two Popes. If you enjoy watching paint dry.
Is it dry yet?
No.
Is it dry yet?
No.
Is it dry yet?
No.
Is it dry yet?
No!
And those are just some of the well-received ones. There are hundreds of terrible Netflix exclusive movies, but they're constantly putting in new films, which makes the service really fresh. And that's not even mentioning the excellent television titles they have. So many. So given this huge quantity of Netflix original titles, you'd expect Disney to come packing the punch when they first open their platform. Not really. To be fair, The Mandalorian was a huge show because
I f***ing love Star Wars! F***ing Star Wars! Finally! Finally, it's here! It's up! Man!
I watched one episode and I thought it was a Star Wars show out of 10. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, then you'll just be taking Jon Favreau and, well, you know. I guess they released a new Clone Wars show earlier this year. I guess only the last 4 episodes are supposed to be exceptional and everything else is just kind of mid. But outside of Star Wars, what do they have? High School Musical, the series. First of all, what the hell is that title? Second, the only High School Musical thing I want to see in 2020 is Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens, and Ashley Tisdale. Get out of here. The World According to Jeff Goldblum? Are we serious? I mean, I love Jeff Goldblum as much as the next person, but does anyone really care about a reality show about Jeff Goldblum going around and sucking his own dick? I mean, that might be kind of interesting, but it's really... The Imagineering story where Netflix sucks their own dick for a whole season? There are quite a few other shows, but they're either incredibly self-serving to a really disgusting point, or they're just total trash. So as of right now, their television game is pretty ass. They're not even going to have Falcon and Winter Soldier out until 2021 now because of the whole pandemic, so they're really slacking. But that's only their television game. What about their films? Maybe they're awesome, right? Oh, we have a Lady and the Tramp live action film. We have Noelle with Anna Kendrick playing Santa's daughter. You know, the Hallmark Channel just called and they want their shitty movie back. One Day at Disney. Oh boy, Disney's playing Pocket Pool again. Togo with Willem Dafoe and Snow Dogs. You know, that actually sounds kind of dope. I might have to watch that. That doesn't help my point at all, but I mean, damn. They got one. What the hell is Timmy Failure? I didn't even know this came out. What? I guess critics like it, all 2 of them who saw it. How does it have a certified fresh if it has 26 reviews? That's not how the game works, Bob. I'd heard of Stargirl because that's a book that's been lying around my house for about 10 years, but hadn't really heard any hype behind this one. The reviews are not very good, so kind of another dud in my eyes. But all of these are made up for because we have the timeless classic, Criterion-released Artemis Fowl.
It's feeding time.
The one title I'll give you is Hamilton because theater nerds treat this like it's the second coming of Christ. I never really got the hype, but that's something people are loving, so you gotta give them that. But still, even with a few really good titles, this is just a few among a lot of garbage, and 4 titles is not enough to make someone want to go to Disney+. Seriously, how are they expecting to maintain viewers if they only have 4 titles worth watching? Sure, they have some MCU titles down the pipeline, but with the whole pandemic, it's not like those are coming out anytime soon. I guess instead of a new MCU show, they put Fantastic on there. That's a nice touch. Yep, you probably saw this one coming, but it's worth noting. Apparently Disney Plus is the platform where any usage of fuck is censored, any brief nudity is censored, just anything that is slightly not politically correct, Disney has to censor it. But this isn't anything new. Disney's been doing this for years. Like in The Great Mouse Detective, I guess an animator snuck a photo of a naked lady in there, but they didn't think anyone would notice because you can't pause a movie in a theater. But then the VHS came out, and some kids saw some boobies. I completely understand something like that, but then you have The Lion King where VFX artists are writing SFX and the stars just as a little Easter egg, but it looked a little bit like sex. So Disney's like, oh, just throw some more stars on there, just erase it from history. Really? But these are just tiny things compared to this giant movie, Song of the South, which I will never see, you will never see. You know why? Disney never wants you to see it. They want to pretend it never happened. But somehow keeping a ride themed after it for this long was appropriate. God knows how that was okay. Personally, I think the act of censoring history and pretending it never happened is more counterproductive than being progressive. I think the best example of how to handle it is with the Warner Brothers archive in their Looney Tune cartoons, when they put a disclaimer before some really racist cartoons and they're saying something like, these are not the morals we believe in today, these were a period in history, but pretending they never happened would be more counterproductive. And I completely agree with that. So to go back to Disney Plus, in the movie Splash, they put extra hair over the character's butt because that's just way too offensive to show someone's rear. Come on. And then in Toy Story 2, I guess there was a joke that's a little similar to Harvey Weinstein and what he would do, so they just cut it out. I could see where they're coming from because that's something they don't want to give attention to, but I still think censoring it's kind of cowardly. In The Adventures of Babysitting, they changed it from don't f**k with the babysitter to don't fool with the babysitter. God. They also took some swearing out of the prequel to Solo called Free Solo.
That wasn't funny.
And of course they took all the F-bombs out of Hamilton. I mean, God, I know these are all little things, but to me this is creating a pattern where Disney is so quick to make changes to their movies and take out stuff that eventually we're going to live in a society where movies are so cut to pieces and the original version of the movie is not going to exist. So preserving history is just out the window. And I think that's just ridiculous. So what's even more confusing is that apparently X-Men Days of Future Past does not censor anything. So Logan says the F word and you see his ass. What sense does that make? Maybe their argument is that X-Men is a Fox movie and not one of their own, but it's still on your platform. And if little Timmy is going to watch an X-Men movie and he sees Hugh Jackman ass, if you can show it here, then why is Splash not okay? But this whole family-friendly thing, it isn't just censoring tiny little things, it's also scrapping entire projects in some cases. For example, the show Love, Victor was supposed to be a Disney Plus exclusive, but then last minute they're like, oh, it's not family-friendly, and they sent it to Hulu. I watched the whole thing. What about it made it not family-friendly? Supposedly the High School Musical show has some gay characters in it, so maybe it's not because of that. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, even though it's still pretty sketch, Bob. But seriously, what about Love, Simon is more inappropriate than Hugh Jackman or decapitating Thanos' head? I'm waiting. And not to mention, the show is done really well on Hulu, so this would have been a great thing to have for your platform because you're kind of slacking in that department, but your loss, I guess. And the more embarrassing one is how they've handled this new Lizzie McGuire show. I'm not a stan of Lizzie McGuire or anything, but this was a show in production, and they canceled it in the middle of production because all of a sudden it's too mature for their platform. What kind of sense does that make? So you're telling me the show was written, you knew what was in the show, you decided to start filming, and you scrap it? What? This is beyond just idiotic. I don't understand what they're doing. This whole family-friendly notion, not only are you having contradictions with X-Men, but this is just stupid to spend money on this show that you're working on, and then in the middle of production, nah, we're good. I'm shook. So those are my main 3 points. The back catalog is getting kind of weak. The original titles are pretty trash. And geez, man, this censorship is just incompetence. I have no doubt in my mind that Disney has the potential to make this a really solid platform. But at the moment, as one of my friends told me, it's kind of becoming the dumping ground of all the platforms. Not that it's like a Quibi or anything, like geez, that is, that's for another day. But this is just wasted potential. That's the best way to describe it. With the Fox acquisition, they have so many titles at their disposal that they can put new content in there. And X-Men is showing that they are willing to do it. But at the moment, they're just, anything they're adding is pretty trash. Like Fantastic. Who, is anyone really going to watch that in 2020? I mean, I will because I'm an idiot. But is any sane person going to watch it in 2020? And I know you made half of that Falcon and Winter Soldier series before we went into lockdown. I don't see why you can't put half of the season up now. Maybe they didn't film enough of that part to do it, but I still think you can put up 1 or 2 episodes and that'll tide people over. That'll get people talking. I don't know why you can't do that, but maybe that's unreasonable. I don't know. But to be honest, nothing Disney Plus does will top Netflix because Netflix has that little secret weapon known as the Kissing Booth. And the Kissing Booth 2. 2 of the best films of all time. It ain't no joke, son. Criterion released them too. Full analysis coming soon.